In Switzerland, the journey begins inside a manufacturing network where precision engineering and traditional watchmaking meet. Behind these controlled spaces, specialized teams transform metals and microscopic components into the foundations of a mechanical watch. 4 specialized Swiss sites divide the work, with each location responsible for a critical part of the watchmaking process. One facility focuses on the mechanical heart, where tiny components are produced and prepared for the movement. Before assembly begins, microscopic parts are organized and handled individually, keeping every component controlled and traceable. Elsewhere, solid metal enters precision production, where complex case and bracelet geometries begin taking shape. Each metal blank is positioned precisely before machining, establishing the geometry that will eventually become part of the finished watch. For precious metal models, carefully controlled material preparation creates the starting point for components that demand exceptional surface and dimensional precision. The molten alloy is controlled through every stage, forming dense metal blanks that will later undergo precise machining. Now the transformation becomes visible, as precision cutting begins turning a simple metal blank into a highly engineered watch component. Layer by layer, the cutting tool removes excess metal, gradually revealing the precise geometry hidden inside the original blank. Multiple cutting operations refine the component, creating openings, contours, and internal surfaces with carefully controlled dimensions. Continuous coolant controls heat while removing chips, keeping the cutting zone stable as the intricate surface is formed. After machining, the one simple blank has become recognizable as a watch case, ready for increasingly precise finishing operations. Before finishing begins, optical equipment checks the geometry, confirming that each critical surface meets its required dimensions. Critical dimensions are checked again by hand, combining calibrated instruments with the trained judgment of an experienced technician. Even the smallest opening must align precisely, because every interface will later connect with another engineered component. Programmed cutting follows every curve of the case, refining its silhouette while preserving the exact geometry required for assembly. Once the geometry is complete, the cases leave automated machining and move toward the finishing stages that define their final appearance. Now the industrial process gives way to finishing by hand, where controlled pressure begins transforming machined metal into a refined surface. Inside the movement department, hundreds of tiny components are organized with extraordinary precision before the delicate assembly process begins. At microscopic scale, specialized cutting tools shape individual gear teeth, creating components designed to transfer energy through the movement. After machining, the tiny gear is inspected optically, checking its delicate profile before it can enter the movement. With the components prepared, a watchmaker begins building the movement, placing each part into its precise position. A single wheel is positioned by hand, its tiny axis settling into place where even a minute error could affect the mechanism. The bridge is secured with a microscopic screw, locking the components beneath it into their carefully engineered positions. As the mechanism begins moving, energy travels through the gear train, connecting one precisely positioned component to the next. The automatic winding rotor is installed, preparing the movement to convert the wearer's motion into stored mechanical energy. As the rotor moves, its motion travels through the winding system, transferring energy toward the mainspring. At the center of the movement, the escapement regulates energy while the balance oscillates, transforming mechanical power into measured time. At microscopic scale, the hairspring demands extraordinary control, because its delicate geometry directly influences the movement's regulation. The spring is carefully aligned around the balance, allowing the regulating system to operate with controlled and repeatable oscillation. The balance now oscillates continuously, with the hairspring expanding and contracting as the regulating system measures each beat. The escapement releases energy in controlled increments, allowing the balance and gear train to work together in precise mechanical rhythm. Layer by layer, the individual components have become one coordinated mechanism, with every moving part serving a specific purpose. Before the movement moves forward, specialized equipment monitors its operation and records performance under controlled conditions. Live measurements reveal how the mechanism behaves, giving technicians precise information before the movement enters the next production stage. While the movement is being refined, another part of the watch begins its own transformation: the dial. Its most visible expression, Each dial begins as a precisely prepared blank. Positioned carefully before its surface receives the details that define its final appearance. The surface is refined until its texture becomes uniform. Preparing the dial for the precise markings and details that follow. With the surface prepared, the dial enters precision printing, where every marking must be positioned with exact visual alignment. A controlled printing pass creates the fine markings, transforming the blank surface into a readable and precisely organized dial. Under magnification, every printed character is examined for clarity, alignment, and consistency before the dial moves forward. Individual hour markers are handled with fine tweezers, each one positioned according to the exact geometry of the dial, one marker at a time. The dial gains its dimensional structure while symmetry and spacing remain carefully controlled. Luminous material is applied with controlled precision, filling designated surfaces while keeping the surrounding metal perfectly clean. In controlled darkness, the luminous elements are activated and inspected for consistent coverage and brightness across the dial. Under magnification, an experienced watchmaker examines the finished dial, searching for even the smallest imperfection. A final hand cleaning removes microscopic particles, leaving the finished surface perfectly clear and ready for assembly. The completed dials now leave craftsmanship and enter final assembly, where the separate elements will begin becoming a finished timepiece. The major components finally meet at assembly, where the movement, dial, and case begin becoming one complete watch. The completed movement is lowered into the case, where its position must align precisely with the surrounding structure. The finished dial is aligned over the movement, bringing the visible face of the watch into precise relationship with its mechanism. The hands are installed one by one, positioned precisely above the dial without disturbing its carefully finished surface. The hands are checked for clearance and alignment, ensuring they move freely without contacting the dial or one another. The winding stem connects the external crown to the movement, creating the mechanical interface used to control the watch. The crown is secured against the case, completing the external connection between the wearer and the mechanical movement. A precisely positioned gasket helps create the sealed interface between components. Preparing the case for final closure and testing, the case is closed using controlled torque, bringing the internal mechanism into its final protected environment. The separate components have finally become a complete timepiece. But precision testing still stands between assembly and perfection. Before leaving the factory, the completed watch enters controlled testing designed to verify the integrity of its sealed case. Controlled pressure is applied around the case, challenging its seals while sensors continuously monitor the testing conditions. Controlled water exposure challenges the case from every direction, focusing attention on the crown, crystal, and sealing interfaces. After testing, the case is dried and inspected carefully. Checking the exterior before the watch advances to mechanical performance testing. The movement is then monitored for timing performance, with sensors measuring its behavior while the mechanism continues operating. The watch is evaluated in multiple positions, revealing how the movement performs as its orientation changes during everyday wear. Controlled magnetic exposure challenges the completed watch, testing the movement's ability to maintain stable operation under demanding conditions. A controlled shock test challenges the assembled mechanism, checking whether its components remain secure after sudden mechanical impact. Following mechanical testing, the movement is inspected again, confirming that its operation remains stable and its visible details remain undisturbed. After testing and inspection, the finished watch receives its final quality check before entering presentation, packaging, and preparation for delivery. After passing inspection, the watch enters its final finishing stage, where polished surfaces receive one last controlled refinement. Controlled pressure brings out the final reflection, while the technician carefully maintains an even finish across every polished surface. Different surfaces require different finishing techniques, creating sharp transitions between polished brilliance and controlled brush texture. The bracelet receives the same attention, with every link finished so its surfaces remain consistent from one end to the other. Each link must move smoothly while maintaining a precise fit, creating the flexibility and continuity expected from the finished bracelet. The bracelet is connected to the case, and the clasp is checked for smooth operation, secure engagement, and precise alignment. Before presentation, The completed watch undergoes controlled cleaning to remove the smallest traces left by manufacturing and handling. Filtered air removes remaining moisture, followed by a careful surface inspection to ensure the watch leaves the bench completely clean. After countless precision operations, the finished watch finally stands alone, revealing the combined work of machines, materials, and human hands. From microscopic components to final polish, every stage now converges in one finished timepiece. Ready for its final presentation and journey, the completed timepiece is carefully positioned inside its presentation cushion. Preserving every finished surface before packaging, the presentation box is prepared with equal care, creating a protected interior designed to hold the finished timepiece securely. Once the watch is secured, the package receives its final check, ensuring the presentation remains immaculate before leaving the production floor. Finished watches enter controlled storage, where each package is identified, recorded, and prepared for the next stage of distribution. The finished packages leave secure storage and move toward distribution, beginning the final journey from precision workshop to the outside world. From raw components to microscopic precision and final craftsmanship, every stage leads to one result: a timepiece built around perfection.